iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. So this will be my last official fantasy baseball podcast. Now, in the future, I may throw in a fantasy baseball tidbit, but this will be the last one that is based around fantasy baseball. Okay? So, like I said, moving forward, Fridays, I do on my mock draft Fridays. After July, we will be beginning our football podcasts. Can't wait for that. I will throw a little baseball in here or there. Just so you know, I'm not going to abandon it altogether, but only if there's something that really dawns on me, or a player who comes up, or a visionary, or something that I want you guys to do. Okay? Right now, I want to cover a few things. So, in short, I'm going to title this Winning Your Fantasy Baseball League. This is not easy to do. This is not. We are getting towards the All-Star break here, and we are at a critical point. Okay? Critical point. So, for example, I'll use Paul Goldschmidt. Has 280 at-bats. Most likely, give or take, not exactly, we are looking at another 300 at-bats. So for most players, not all, we're looking at one more good half of a season. Could guys have a few more at-bats, maybe 55%, maybe so. But I would say we could pretty much say we're really around 50% of games, give or take, okay? Why is this important? Because just because your guys have done something in the first half doesn't mean they're going to do it in the second half. Right? Just because a guy's played well in the first half doesn't mean it's going to happen in the second half. So what do I mean by that? Well, Manny Pina, he's hitting 287. Is he going to hit 287 in the second half? I don't know. I can't guarantee that. Miguel Sano hitting 275 now. A lot of people saw him as a 230, 240 hitter. Would it shock me if he hit 240 the rest of the way and hit 255 for the year? Not at all. Right? So we have to now project what those second half numbers are going to be. No longer do I care about the first half. So Scott Schebler, I don't care that he's got 20 home runs. It's done. They're already hit. Now I have to ask myself, how many home runs is he going to give me in the second half of the year? Is he going to give me another 20? If he is, I love him. Is he going to give me 10? If he is, I like him. Right? So I've got to figure out at this point who's going to do what for me the rest of the way. Sometimes I'm going to be very right about it. Sometimes I'm going to be very wrong about it. Odubel Herrera, so far I look wrong. But I think we're going to see over time, I will be more right than wrong. I think this guy gets 10 home runs and 10 steals in the second half of the year and gets to 15-15. I think that happens. So right now, what you need to do is project out what you think players are going to do in the second half. Can it be as easy as just doubling what they've done in the first half? No, I wish it were that easy. I wish it were that easy. It doesn't always work that way. But what I'd like you to do is, if possible, think back to the beginning part of the season. So, for example, Robinson Cano. I thought Robinson Cano was probably going to hit about 28 home runs and about 90, 100 RBIs. So that means he's going to give me another 14 home runs and 40 RBIs. That is a conservative estimate. I think that's a pretty fair one. I think that's a pretty fair estimate. Right? Will he do that? I'm not sure, but I think it's a good gauge. Go through your players and try to see what you expect them to do in the second half of the season. We only have one half to play with. Okay? Now, certain players for you. Okay? Certain players, and I'm going to use one of these guys, Ronette Odor. Ronette Odor has been disgusting. You are tired of his face. You can't look at him one more minute. All you want to do in life is get this bum off your team. Do you know the bum has 12 home runs and 7 stolen bases? He's got close to 40 runs scored. So yeah, he's disgusting. He's hitting 206, but his numbers aren't that disgusting. What if I told you he'll hit 25 home runs this year and steal 15 bases? You'd believe me, wouldn't you? It's possible. So don't look at what guys have done in the first half. That's done. I can't get that back anymore. I need to look at what is going to be in the second half. Okay? When you total up your players, I want you to go to the standings. I want you to go to the standings and look, and we've done this before, I need you to be very realistic with how many points you can gain. What are your guys going to do? What are the stats? How can I grow? Where can I grow? Will a good starter help you? If so, go out and make a trade for one. But if your batting average is 260 and 270 is like 8 points away, maybe you're not going to get that. Right? So we need to be realistic. We need to be realistic. And what I like to do when I look at the categories is I like to think of small chunks. So for example, in my home league here, 186 is the number one first place for home runs. Second place is 160. What does that tell you? It tells you the guy in first place should have traded some home runs already. After that comes 158, 153, 150, and I'm at 149. Right now in my head, I am only trying to get 2 points. I want to get to 153. When I get to 153, I'll then worry about the guys at 158 and 160. Take small steps. Take small steps. Okay? Don't take unrealistically large steps. Take smaller steps. Right? If I'm at 506 RBIs, I'm not getting to 540 so fast. I might be able to get to 515, so let me worry about getting to 515. One step at a time. People forget that. Do an intake of your players. Where are they? How have they done? Who has performed well? Who has let you down? What are the statistics? How do I get there? How much do I need? How much can I grow? I have 522 runs scored. In front of me is 544. In front of me is 590. I don't know if I'm growing anytime soon. I know I got a bunch of guys behind me. I know that 505, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points, I got to protect my lead. Now, let's talk about this. When we look at standings, we tend to look up. How can I gain? Right? Glass half full. How can I gain the points that I need? But you know what people forget? How many points can I lose? So, for example, I'm at 269.5 in batting average. 269.3 is 1 point. 2.680 is 2 points. I can lose 2 points quite easily. So I better make sure that I maintain that advantage. In home runs, I'm at 149. 140 is 4 points away. 138 is another 7 points away. You know what? I better have guys who can hit home runs or I can lose 7 points. Right? So I want you to go through your standings and don't only look at what you can gain, look at what you can lose. Minimize the damage. Minimize the damage. Now, if you're at a spot where you can't lose, good for you. Maybe you're low in a category. So like in strikeouts per inning, I'm second to last. I really can't lose anything. I could only gain. Good to know. But I need to know what to do. So, trading advice for you. So for example, it might be in my best interest to trade guys with high strikeout totals on my team. Why? I can't really gain there. And I can't really lose there. I can gain, but I can't lose. I'm already in the bottom. But maybe if I could get a guy who has a good ERA and a good whip and gets me wins, I can grow in other areas and not lose anymore. So most teams, for example, you don't want Ivan Nova, right? Ivan Nova hurts most teams. Why? He hurts most teams because he doesn't strike out enough guys. 108 innings, 60 strikeouts. But I'm already in second to last in those categories in strikeouts per inning. But if his ERA is good, 3.08, his whip is good, 1.11, his wins are good, 8, I could gain in those categories. Right? Be prepared to make deals that help you elsewhere because they don't hurt you in certain places. I can't get hurt in strikeouts, so it can help me somewhere else. I hope that makes sense to you because that's a very important part of this whole thing. Don't just look where you can gain, see where you can lose, and minimize that. Right? And then try to make the deals around that. Next, second half of the year. I don't like trading for pitchers. So let me use Ivan Nova as an example. He's had 16 starts. Okay? I normally project pitchers for anywhere from 28 to 32 starts. So I'm going to give Ivan Nova 14 more starts. He has 180 innings pitched. Maybe he gets to 190. It's about 90 more innings. What is his value to me the second half of the year? Not a lot. Not a lot. Don't go trading your hitters for your pitchers now in the second half. Nova has, let's argue he has 15 more starts. Here's going to be my argument to you. Nova has 15 more starts. 5 of them are going to be gems. 5 of them could be disgusting, and 5 could be better than average. Does that really help me enough? Out of the 15 games, how many wins is he going to get me? He ain't getting me 15 wins. Does he get me 7? So 7. So now let's work with me. 15 games, 90 innings, 90 times 0.6, which is a strikeout range. He's good for about 7 wins and 50 strikeouts the second half. Is that enough for me? Is that good enough for me? I don't know. Only you can answer that question about your league. But that's what you're getting. Versus a hitter who could get you another 250 at-bats. In 250 at-bats, you can get 12 home runs, maybe 40 RBIs. Is that more valuable to you? It might be. So I like trading for hitters in the second half, not pitchers. I think you're going to see a lot of 6-man rotations in the second half of the season. Teams like Washington, who are going to make the playoffs. Teams like the Dodgers, who we've already seen. Teams who are going to basically say, you know what? We're going to make the playoffs. We're going to make the playoffs. So let me slow down the inning pitch for my pitchers. Be careful with that. Here's something else you have to be careful for. September. September call-ups are brutal. Guys who haven't played much all of a sudden start playing. Guys who played every day get days off. You better save some free agent money for the month of September. Oh, that hamstring that I heard on September 3rd, so-and-so shut down for the year. Those last 2 weeks in baseball are critical. You've got to be able to maneuver and make it through a season. This is a true story. I was ahead in the Sirius. I played 3 Sirius XM fantasy baseball leagues. I've won 2. The third one, I was winning by 5 points with a week to go. I lost to Ray Flowers by 0.5 point. Are you kidding me? I had to have everything go wrong, and he had to have everything go right. And on the last day, he caught me by 0.5 point. What does that show you? It shows you that baseball fluctuates in that last month. I'm up 5 points with a week to go. That should have been a slam dunk. Game over. It doesn't always work that way. I was in a home league where I was up by 30 points at the All-Star break. I barely hung on and won by 1. Strange things happen in the second half of the year. Pitchers don't pitch. Batters don't bat. Players don't play. Minor leaguers get called up. You have to have roster flexibility. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to give you a guy. Jed Jorko. What do I love about Jed Jorko? I love a lot about Jed Jorko. I love his power. I love that he's hitting 295. But you know what I love mostly? He plays first, second, short, and third. He should qualify for that in most of your leagues. Maybe not all, but most. Why do I love that so much? I love that because Jorko, so for example, he's got 6 games at first, 5 at second, 60 at third, and he qualified at shortstop. So in my league, we only need 5 games. That makes him very powerful. So God forbid somebody gets hurt, I can move Jorko into a spot. At the end of the year, I may be crying for that flexibility. I might desperately need that flexibility. That's why I like guys like Jed Jorko. You always want to have a guy, a utility player, on your fantasy baseball squad at the end of the year. Somebody gets hurt, you need to fill them in. Right? Somebody gets hurt, you need to fill them in. That's how it works. Okay? So watch that closely. Watch that closely. Get guys who can help you at the end of the year when you need them most. A fantasy baseball league is a marathon, not a sprint. A marathon. So we've got to make sure that we can get to the finish line together. Okay? And how do we do that? We do that by getting you to join scoutfantasy.com. Enter the promo code ROTO. That's ROTO. Pay for 1 month, you get 2 more for free. It's as simple as that. We will give you all the information you need for your daily leagues, for your seasonal leagues, and taking you the distance to a fantasy baseball championship. Remember, to recap, look at your players. Try to do projections for the second half. Look at your standings. Project up and down. Where can you gain? Where can you lose? Figure out who to trade for. Get some versatility on your team. Save some money for free agency. And spend wisely at the end of the season. You do those things, and you might be my rich friend. But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Back with you tomorrow, talking more fantasy sports. This is Dr. Roto saying be well, take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!